and welcome to Pitboards and Podiums with me, Maya Westwick. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking all about the Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari news, so buckle up and let's talk F1. Alright guys, so as I said, today I am going to be talking about Lewis Hamilton moving to Ferrari for the 2025 season. Unless you have been living under a rock, you will know that it was announced last Thursday, that Sir Lewis Hamilton was not going to be staying with Mercedes for the end of his career, and he will be moving to Ferrari from 2025. Now, I had a lot of thoughts and feelings about this at the time. I was very excited, and then I was scared that he was retiring and blah, 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 blah. But since more details have come out about it, and we have as much information as we're going to get for now, I thought now is the perfect time to give all of my thoughts on the subject and put all of this information that's all over the internet together so that we all know what's going on. So obviously, it came as quite a shock last week when it was seemingly leaked to the media that Sir Lewis Hamilton was not going to be staying with Mercedes from the end of 2024, considering especially he signed a deal with Mercedes only a few months ago to stay with the team until the 2026 season at least. Like, quite exciting. So I personally am very excited for this. Lewis has always said that he dreamt of racing for Ferrari as a child, as did half of the grid. Like, Ferrari is synonymous with Formula One, is iconic. So seeing that his childhood dreams are going to be able to come to fruition is very, very exciting. I was initially a little bit concerned. I was worried when we didn't have any information about the contract. I was worried that this was kind of going to be like his last hurrah so that he could do it before he retired. But obviously we have had confirmation now that it is a multi-year deal, so I'm not as worried as I was. I was concerned that we were literally going to have one season of him in Ferrari and then he'd retire. But that doesn't seem to be the case. So I'm going to stop waffling and actually get into the actual news of it. So Hamilton released a statement. He released a statement in the evening, so the news broke quite early in the day. Obviously, Will Buxton had tweeted the night before saying that there was some exciting news and all of this. Being Will Buxton, sometimes he's clickbaity without anything to click. You know what I mean? So sometimes you kind of just take what he says with a pinch of salt. But everyone was like, what are you talking about, Will? What's going on? What do you mean? And obviously that was on the Wednesday night that he tweeted that. So in terms of the timeline of events, that's the same day that Hamilton has told Toto about it. So how does Will Buxton know at that point when the rest of Mercedes don't know? That's a bit strange to me. But anyway, Hamilton released a statement in the evening on the Thursday, basically confirming everything. So on the Thursday, the news broke really early in the morning with not a lot of information about it, and there was all these rumours and everything like that. And then Hamilton was going paintballing with some of his close team members in Mercedes. That was already pre-planned, and he used that as opportunity to tell them. And then Mercedes had a meeting in Brackley at 2 p.m. to tell everybody else. Toto wasn't even there for it. Toto was in Milan, which is strange to me because the day before Toto had been in Oxford. So why was he not at the meeting? But anyway, so Toto zoomed into it basically. I don't know if he used Zoom. There are other face calling platforms, but Toto video linked into it, and they had this meeting in Brackley at 2 p.m. to basically tell everybody else at Mercedes what was going on. And then an official statement was released in the evening confirming that Lewis was leaving Mercedes, and then 15 minutes later confirming that Lewis was joining Ferrari. And then a little bit later from that, Carlos released a statement confirming he wouldn't drive for Ferrari after this season, which of course you're not, because we know that Leclerc is and we know that Hamilton is, so where are you fitting into that? So it was just a bit of the timing of it just seemed very strange, and there has been quite a bit of speculation that perhaps the news was leaked before they were ready to announce it, and that's why it all seemed a little bit rushed, maybe, because it very much came out of the blue. It was not, you know what it's like in Formula One, everyone knows what's going on months before it's actually announced, and this just kind of felt a bit rushed, so who knows. So I'm not going to read Hamilton's entire statement that he posted on social media, purely because you can go on his social media and see that for yourself. I see some lovely photos of him as well. But I'm just kind of picked out some bits of it that I wanted to talk about. So he said, after an incredible 11 years at Mercedes AMG Petronas Formula One team, the time has come for me to start a new chapter in my life, and I will be joining Scuderia Ferrari in 2025. Right off the bat, we've got confirmation that he is joining Ferrari from the 2025 season, because there was also a bit of speculation over whether he would maybe join straight away and all of this. Like, people were going wild with rumours, so he's kind of just set it straight. From 2025, he will be with Ferrari, not Mercedes. I feel incredibly fortunate after achieving things with Mercedes I could only have dreamed of as a kid, that I now have the chance to fulfill another childhood dream, driving in Ferrari red. How exciting. I've already spoken about that, like, how exciting. Also, like, I will get onto this later, but Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton driving together in a team, if that car is good, it's going to be incredible. Like, as long as Ferrari build a good car and they don't do an absolute circus with their strategy, can you imagine? Can you, like, it could be incredible, especially with the new regulations coming in 2026. Like, this could be Ferrari's time. They could win with Lewis, set Charles up to be the next world champion, win with Charles. Beautiful. This decision has been the hardest I've ever had to make. I'm very grateful for the hard work and dedication of everyone I have worked with over the years, and of course Toto for his friendship, guidance and leadership. Of course, I cannot forget Nikki, who was a huge supporter and who I still miss every day. So obviously this is not something that Lewis has taken lightly. Like, it was very much looking like he was going to see out the end of his career with Mercedes. So it's kind of a case of, like, what's changed? And it kind of seems like, bearing in mind how much he's done for that team and how much he's achieved with them and how much he's, like, built them up, kind of seems like Mercedes have just disregarded that a little bit. Like, the board seemed to have just been quite disrespectful, really. And, like, even with the statements that were released, Mercedes were just very factual, like, Lewis is leaving, going to Ferrari. There was no thank you. There was no, like, eloquent reference to the time that they'd been together for the last 11 years. It was just very much, these are the facts. And that seemed a bit strange, because why? How are you going to post a whole think piece about how you're devastated for George that he crashed out on the last lap of a race, and then not say anything about your champion leaving? It just seemed a bit strange to me, to be quite honest. The time is right for me to make a change and take on a new challenge. I still remember the feeling of taking a leap of faith into the unknown when I first joined Mercedes in 2013. I know people didn't understand it at the time, but I was right to make the move then, and it's the feeling I have again now. How exciting is that? Because for those of you who weren't following the sport in 2013 when Lewis moved from McLaren to Mercedes, literally everybody in the public, in the media, everyone was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You are with a team that is championship winning and you're moving to Mercedes. What's wrong with you? And everyone doubted him. And he proved everybody wrong. He knew, he believed in himself that was the right thing to do for him and his career. I mean, look how it panned out. Look what happened with McLaren after 2013, and look what happened with Mercedes after 2013, and then tell me he made the wrong choice. Do you know what I mean? Like, and for him to say that he's got that same feeling now, especially when Ferrari has been struggling, like Ferrari have been making errors with their strategy, Ferrari have been getting things wrong mechanically, like, for them to now have shown something to Lewis, for him to think the exact same, like for him to have this same feeling that he had in 2013, I think very good things are coming there. And then he ends the statement saying, right now I'm not thinking about 2025, my focus is on the upcoming season and getting back on track with Mercedes. I am more driven than ever, I am fitter and more focused than ever, and I want to help Mercedes win once again. I am 100% committed to the job I need to do and determined to end my partnership with the team on a high. So Lewis has got that drive. Lewis, like, if Mercedes do not completely stuff this up for him, and if they give him a good car, and if they don't mess up the strategy, and if they don't just be dramatic little, you know, like if they, because this season could go two ways. Mercedes could have a beautiful last season with Lewis. Lewis could potentially even win the World Championship depending on the car and all of that and the competition. Like, they could have this beautiful last hurrah together before Lewis leaves for Ferrari. Or Mercedes could go, all right, you're leaving us, I'm done with you, we're prioritising George, you're going to have awful strategy for everything, we're not going to prioritise you, and we're going to mess up your season, because we've seen how it's been in recent years. So from Lewis's side, he is ready to be fighting with Mercedes to get what they both want, but I don't know if we're really going to get that reciprocated, well, we're just going to have to see. I really hope we do. I hope we have a beautiful last season between the two of them. But, I mean, Toto's already running his mouth, so who knows. Obviously, this all came as a bit of a shock to everybody, and one of the things that came out afterwards was about the difference in contract offers that Mercedes was willing to make compared to Ferrari. So what Lewis had gone to Mercedes asking for was a 3-year contract with an ambassadorial role after retirement. So he was going to be an ambassador for Mercedes for his post-racing career, because obviously he spent so much time with the team. He's been connected to the team since he was 13. He's won so many championships with the team. It felt like that was the right thing for him to do. That was, like, of course, what he was going to do. Mercedes said no. Have some respect. Have some respect. Mercedes offered, the best they were going to offer him was a 1 year plus 1 year option contract, basically meaning he had 1 year guaranteed with the option of extending for a further year. But that option year means that, yes, Lewis could go, actually, I'm going to leave after a year, which is what he's doing. But it also means that Mercedes can go, actually, no, we don't want you anymore. We're going to get someone else. Thanks, bye. Bit strange. And that was valued at 60 million euros a year with no post-retirement ambassadorial role offered. They didn't want him to be an ambassador, which is ridiculous. Comments from Toto Wolff afterwards have suggested that the Mercedes board were unwilling to give Hamilton what he wanted, and that Toto was willing to do this sort of contract, but the board decided not to. And basically they've said that they wanted to keep their options open to be able to drop him at any point convenient to them, to be able to hire someone else, like one of the younger drivers like Lando or Charles or someone like that, who obviously have both been locked down in their contracts now, so they're not going to be able to. They wanted to be able to drop him at any point convenient to them because of the potential volatility of the driver market heading into 2025, because the majority of the grid, their contracts will expire at the end of this season, and silly seasons are going to be ridiculous. I think personally that that's very snaky behaviour from Mercedes, considering how much Lewis has done for them. However, you know, are we surprised? Are we surprised? Supposedly, the board were concerned that Lewis would retire suddenly at the end of 2024, like Rosberg did in 2016, which is just a cop-out. Lewis at no point has suggested he's going to retire. He's openly said he has got years left in him in Formula One. He's still got that drive, he's still got that fight, so why would he just go, actually, I'm out, bye? Like, no, he's not going to do that. You are just covering your ass, to be quite honest. By comparison, the contract that Ferrari offered him was a 2 years plus 1 year option contract valued at 80 million euros per year, 20 million of which will be bonuses related to Hamilton's foundations and projects, with a 250 million euro investment fund and ambassadorial role for post-retirement on offer as well. Basically, Ferrari have gone, we will give you the world, please come here. Please, whatever you want, we'll give you. Please come and drive for us. The difference, why could Mercedes not be like that? Why would Mercedes not be like that with the man who's literally created the legacy that you have? Obviously, Lewis has openly said in the past that he always dreamt of driving for Ferrari, but he's also said in more recent years that he kind of just accepted that it was never going to happen. However, 9 years ago, Matt Bishop, who works in Formula One, he's worked with McLaren and Mercedes and lots of teams, he was in a bar in Tokyo with Sir Lewis Hamilton, and they spoke about Lewis wanting to go to Ferrari, and Matt Bishop kept this a secret for 9 years, and then now that all this news has come out, he's been like, guess what, guys, I already knew about this 9 years ago. Like, so Lewis said to him, Matt basically said to him, like, are you going to end your career with Mercedes? And Lewis was like, well, you know, I've always wanted to drive for Ferrari, and imagine having that as my legacy, that I've won World Drivers' Championships with McLaren, Mercedes and Ferrari. Imagine that's his legacy. Like, I would very much like for that to happen. Thank you very much. So, in terms of breaking the news to the team and to Toto and people like that, as I've already kind of mentioned about the timeline, Toto had already heard like rumours of Lewis having talks with Ferrari, but they hadn't spoken about it properly. They'd already arranged for the two of them to have coffee at Toto's home in Oxford on Wednesday last week, which is where Lewis told him. Supposedly they only spoke for an hour. Toto didn't try and argue with him, didn't try to change his mind, just said that he understood that Lewis needed a change. Toto has said that the timing of it is a shock because they went into the winter break kind of on the same page, so he's not sure what's changed, but I think the way that you've treated him for the last 2 years is what's changed, you know, when Ferrari's going to give him the world and you're giving him nothing. Lewis's decision, it's been confirmed that Lewis's decision was made before he had his seat fitting on Tuesday for the newly redesigned W15. There was a bit of conspiracy that the W15 was going to be really bad because Mercedes posted a photo of Lewis getting his seat fitting, and then he just obviously wasn't like posing for the photo. Like, he just looked a little bit unimpressed. So everyone was like, well, the car's shit and he wants to leave. It's been confirmed that he'd already decided he was leaving before he even saw the new car. So he had that pre-planned seat fit on the Tuesday, he had this pre-planned coffee with Toto on the Wednesday, then paintballing with his team on the Thursday, which is what he used to tell them about it, and then Mercedes had that meeting that they called at 2 p.m. on the Thursday at Brackley to tell the rest of the staff. As I've said, it was all very, very fast with the rumours and the confirmation and all of that. It just seemed a little bit suspicious, the timing was a bit rushed. People have speculated online that it was leaked early and they were forced into an announcement. Obviously, we don't know that. I mean, people love a conspiracy in Formula One. People think that potentially it was leaked by Formula One because of the Andretti news. They think that Formula One maybe have leaked it to take the heat off them for not allowing Andretti into the sport. I don't know. I'm not going to fuel any sort of conspiracies. I don't know, do I? Yeah, the timing seems a bit suspicious, and it does seem like it was very rushed, so I think that it probably was leaked a bit early. I'm not going to speculate on who did leak it or why. I don't know. Other drivers seem to have already known about it as well. Charles Leclerc definitely knew about it. Charles Leclerc was one of a select few people at Ferrari who knew, and he actually knew it back before he signed his contract extension a few weeks ago, and the news that he was going to be partnered with Sir Lewis Hamilton was part of the reason for his own contract extension, because he was so excited to race with Hamilton. Pierre Gasly has said that he knew about it, but he's also refused to say how he knew about it, because he should not have known about it. Obviously, he's very, very close friends with Charles, so potentially Charles told him. During lockdown in 2020, Lewis was learning French to be able to speak to Pierre and Charles better and play games with them online, so maybe Lewis told him, but I don't know. It could also have been that maybe he was in the running for a Ferrari seat, because there was already speculation that Ferrari were going to be getting rid of Carlos Sainz. Could also be that he was made aware that there was going to be a seat available at Mercedes, and it wasn't just a rumoured situation, like it was a confirmed there will be a seat at Mercedes soon. Who knows? But Pierre knew about it and is refusing to say how he knew about it. Also, the timing of Lando being locked down by McLaren seems like potentially people at McLaren had an inkling that something was happening and wanted to make sure that Lando couldn't be poached by Mercedes. Who knows? Speaking of poaching, there has been confirmation that basically Hamilton has a non-poaching clause in his contract. Motorsport Italy have reported that basically Hamilton can't directly approach any Mercedes staff and ask them to go with him to Ferrari. That doesn't stop Ferrari approaching them, and it doesn't stop them approaching Ferrari. It just means that Hamilton can't initiate the contact between them. So realistically, Bono, for example, everybody and their mother wants Bono to go to Ferrari with Hamilton, because Bono is Hamilton's race engineer, and the way that they work together and all of that, that is so fundamental in the success that they have had together. Like, their relationship is so important. So obviously everyone pretty much wants Bono to go to Ferrari to carry that on, and it just means that Lewis can't say to Bono, please come with me. Lewis could say in the media, he could hint in the media that he wanted Bono to go with him, but he can't openly say, I want Bono to come to Ferrari with me, otherwise he's in breach of his contract. But Ferrari can contact Bono and be like, would you consider coming to Ferrari? And Bono can contact Ferrari and say, can I come to work for you alongside Lewis? So it's not really in the way of people going with him to Ferrari. It just means that Lewis can't be the person that causes them to go. He can't be the person that is the reason they get the idea of going, if that makes sense. However, depending on what individual team members' contracts look like, their gardening leave could be incredibly, incredibly long. And obviously, I'm not privy to these contracts. I do not know how much gardening leave Bono has in his contract, for example. But it could literally be for some of these team members that even if they were to resign now and start their gardening leave now, they wouldn't be able to start working for Ferrari at the earliest until midway through 2025, if not the 2026 season. So there would still be some time of Lewis being at Ferrari without these people being allowed to work there, which is a potential issue, but obviously that is something that we can only speculate on at the moment because we don't know if anyone's going to go with him for definite. We don't know what their individual contract states in terms of gardening leave and all of that, so we can't really make any assumptions at this point, but I think it is something to keep an eye on and definitely work out. Also, little side note, everyone's always said, so Adrian Newey, who currently designs the Red Bulls, Adrian Newey always said that he's kind of one like career regret, if you will, is that he never got to work with Ferrari, Lewis Hamilton or Fernando Alonso. And obviously with Lewis going to Ferrari, he could go to Ferrari and kill two birds with one stone there. And a lot of people have been like, Newey, get yourself to Italy. His wife on Twitter has been liking tweets about him going to Italy. So could we be getting an Adrian Newey designed car driven by Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton? You know, I mean, there's a lot going on with Red Bull at the moment that I'm not going to talk about because this episode is not about that, and if you haven't seen the news, I'm not going to go into it now, but I hope whoever it is that's come forward is safe and okay. But could Adrian Newey be leaving Red Bull and going to Ferrari? I would very much like for that to happen, to be quite honest, because that man is a genius. So I think it is something we're just going to have to wait and see what happens, but I think the whole prospect of Hamilton at Ferrari and what that could mean and who else that could bring to Ferrari is so exciting. It has revitalised the sport. Like, the amount of people that are excited for Formula One, even though this isn't even happening this year, it's happening next year, the amount of people who are excited for Formula One, who, like, are re-energised by this news, and people still try and say that Hamilton isn't bigger than the sport. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He is Formula One. I feel like I've said everything that I was going to say for now. I probably will talk about it again at some point if more news comes out, but that is everything for now. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. It's a little bit different to what I normally have been doing, because obviously I've been doing more educational stuff up to this point, and I do want to be able to do more episodes where I'm just kind of reacting to news and expressing my opinion and my excitement about things. So if you have enjoyed it, please do let me know. I would really appreciate it if you would like, rate, comment, subscribe, share the podcast, please. It would mean the world to me, and I will see you very, very soon for another episode. So thank you very, very much for listening. Bye.